NBA playoff bracket, which is what we're going to talk about right now. So if you had if the playoffs started today, right, and you had to pick the first round series that you think would be or is shaping up to be the most exciting, which one would you say that is?
Well, since about half the teams in the playoffs are a game or less apart from each other, I have to first pull up the standings and see what just switched around, because Houston just blasted Denver. So you said which would be the most exciting?
Yes.
I
already know my answer.
The number one most exciting right now. God, honestly, I don't. Right now, I don't love the first round matchups, to be honest with you.
There's one I love. There's one I love.
The one that I would personally probably be most excited in, and this is a little bit hometown, is Brooklyn versus Toronto. But yeah, every other matchup is either straightforward or I'm just not interested. You know what I'm saying?
You know, here the one I love is the Nuggets Thunder.
See, that's one I'm not interested, because that's the Thunder's like worst matchup in all of the Western Conference.
It's one of the few teams that can match them athletically on the wings. In most of the areas, I think they can. And Jokic takes Steven Adams away from the basket.
Yeah, I think it's just a bad matchup for the Thunder. I think that's a bad matchup for them.
But there's a Westbrook factor.
I don't think
there's a Paul George factor.
Paul George is playing terribly since the All-Star break.
Yeah, well, not last night. He had a good game last night.
Did you watch the game?
No, I just saw the stat line.
Yeah, see, no, I watched the game. He wasn't that good last night. They got a big lead with everybody playing pretty well, and then Westbrook sat down, and then Paul George proceeded to play like horribly. He hit like one shot and then was bad, and they were catching up, and then they put Westbrook back in, and he got like 2 clutch alley-oops, a great pass. Then Paul George hit a really great shot, got an and one, and it came back together. He was decent last night. He was not great. He was not nearly his MVP self last night. Hopefully that shoulder injury is clearing up. But the problem with Denver versus the Thunder is Denver just shoots really well, and the Thunder don't shoot really well. And the Thunder are really great at defending a star. But Denver they just bring shooters from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that matchup for Oklahoma City if that was to happen. I think Oklahoma City would probably lose in 5 against them. Just on a matchup basis, I think it's their worst matchup.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Playoffs, this is a different situation. And the Nuggets don't have near the playoff experience of
that's true.
The Thunder. And so I'm, I don't know. I think that because I think the Thunder are a team that could really, and like you said, a lot of this is matchup based, but I think the Thunder are a team that could actually give the Warriors a decent series.
See, I think they match up well against the Warriors. They match up well against the Rockets. They match up well against Portland. They match up well against San Antonio. That's the funny thing is I think they match up really well with almost every Western Conference team better than they match up with Denver. That's actually their worst matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we have to see what it's actually like in the postseason.
Now that's a valid point. I think that's a totally valid point. I would say the number one thing is Paul George needs to get healthy. Whoever they play is who they play, but Paul George needs to get healthy.
He's like I didn't see the last game, but if you look at his production across the board, I would say for the last 5 to 7 games, it's been pretty decent. He's had a couple bad shooting nights, but the scoring, the rebounding is there.
But that's not good enough. He needs to be what he was early in the year because they don't have shooting. This is what I've been saying about the Thunder for years. People think I'm just defending Westbrook. What I've been saying about the Thunder for years is they have not put enough shooting on that team. And the three-point era has only become more prominent and dominant since Kevin Durant was on the team. Shooting is even more important now than it was back then. Props to Oklahoma City for being probably the most athletic team I've ever seen, position by position. I don't know if I've ever seen a team that thoroughly athletic. When you talk about having elite athletes at every position and coming off the bench, it's crazy. But they need better shooting. They need more shooting. And I can't imagine how that front office has not gotten at least 2 knockdown shooters to come in for that team.
And when they have gotten shooters, they've gotten guys who were so deficient in other areas.
Right. He's got to be able to shoot and chew bubblegum at the same time. Right. Anthony Morrow ain't going to cut it.
Exactly. And he was absolutely one of the people that I was talking about when I said that. Mm-hmm. And I believe that Alex Abrines got dismissed from the squad earlier this season. He had some issue that popped up. They released him for personal issues, so I don't know what that was.
We have no idea what that was.
That was in February.
Yeah, he done hit a pregnant lady and ran away from the scene.
Right. So I don't know what it was, but he was shooting 37% from 3.
He was a serious bright spot for them.
Right,
and they're also still without their defensive specialist from last year. They didn't get Robertson back, and they didn't replace him. It wasn't like they traded him. They're just missing that depth. And even though Robertson, I don't love him in the starting lineup because he can't shoot. Having that kind of defense coming off the bench is incredible, and they don't have it, which is the same, they faced that same issue as last year. Being able to throw him on somebody and just give them a horrible night, especially with switching with Paul George, is like, you don't want to see that. So, I think if Paul George gets healthy, then maybe it's more exciting. But even when they were at their best, Denver just handed it to him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like I have seen plenty. I've seen plenty of years.
Oh, for sure.
Where we look like the team was, a certain like a matchup was a certain thing in the regular season. Mm-hmm. The postseason rolled around, and it was an entirely different situation. And usually, when I've seen that major flip flop like that, it's been in favor of the more experienced team.
And like I said, I actually agree with you with that. What I would say is also with the standings, I mean, Denver could go to 1, Golden State could go to 2, OKC could move up to 6. If we get OKC versus Portland, that series is prime time, watch every game. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Now, 1989 is trying to start some stuff in this chat with this last question. It's a very good one. But he is absolutely trying to start some mess. He said he wants your thoughts on the FPVR. You might not be aware of what that is, but 1989 is one of my longest tenured subscribers. And
is that why he's so trained to start in trouble?
Yes, I think that's why he does it. So the FPVR is a formula that I created to gauge the all-time value of every single player who has ever played at least 3 seasons for every franchise in the NBA, right? It is what I base my all-time rosters on in 2K. Mm-hmm. It is often a point of contention because people think somebody. It's one of
your Mazique fantasies that you done made up.
And I rebuke you right now. So because sometimes people think certain people should have been on there, blah blah blah. Some of people shouldn't be now. And the Czar just said the FPR is that the real Czar?
oh, it's the real Czar. It's authentic. He verified.
The Czar. What's in your cup? I know what is in your pickle jar. What is in your pickle jar? Because he usually on a stream he got a pickle jar with some mystery mystery liquid.
I tell you what, that's an ask us bro question. Hey, we serve the people. Let's describe and review the FPVR.
We are. We're gonna do that after the brackets for sure.
Congratulations. You have brought foolishness to ask us. Bro.
He has done it. You are the man. All right, so let's see.
I just saw what he wrote in the chat. We ain't gonna spoil it. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, this is gonna be addressed to Ask Us, bro. Why'd I make that sound? It's something I read in chat. That's ridiculous. We're gonna get to that.
Oh my God, y'all are some suckers, boy. and see, the thing of it is that rating has nothing to do with the FPVR, but we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, all right. So if the playoffs started today, Bucks Heat. What say you?
I
How many
think
games?
uh, just because Brogdon is either not there or resting, 5.
I say Bucks and 5.
Yeah, 5. I think one great night from Dwayne Wade. Um, Miami just has they're a veteran team. They're coached really well. A team like that's going to get you once, but overall they can't do anything about Giannis. Like nobody can do anything about Giannis. But it's the fact that Giannis creates the shooting opportunities for everybody else, and I think the Bucks are just going to shoot too well. And also, I think Eric Bledsoe is the best point guard in the series, and he's going to just put too much pressure. He's playing really well.
He is playing really well. He's really comfortable right now.
And the Bucks are too much. The best team.
Golden State, San Antonio.
This is interesting because the storyline with Golden State and San Antonio is what people have been saying about Golden State all year is, man, they don't look like they're that good. Like, they're not that good. Obviously, they're number
They
one
don't
seed.
look like people thought they were going to look.
Correct. And we actually started talking about this on the Sim Hangout. Wait until we see Boogie. Don't just pencil him in as adding 24 and 11 to the current Golden State. Let's see that pick and roll defense.
Yep.
And at the time we didn't count on them having less depth across the board, and we didn't count on Draymond aging in dog years this year.
Yeah.
He got a book bag full of power tools on his back every time he take a 3-pointer now. I don't know why he wear that, but it's not a good look, and he's not hitting shots doing that. So the thing about San Antonio also being well coached, having decent talent on the team, they don't have point guards, which means they don't have a chance to win the series. But they can start the long road of Golden State. Instead of them winning 4 games every series, they might wind up going 6-6 and 7 on their way to the finals if they even get there, and that could really impact them negatively, putting them through that murderer's row if that's what happens to them. So I think that series is interesting for how much can San Antonio push it.
So what do you think? How many?
Probably 5, but 6 will be a victory for San Antonio. If they can get them to 6 games, good on them.
I think Warriors in 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if it went 7.
And if that happens, because San Antonio's been playing really well lately.
Yep.
Really, really well lately. I know they might have dropped 1 or 2 recently. Even that was a close one. But they were on a little streak for a while, and they have been finding their stride. Again, they lost their point guards at the beginning of the season, so they're playing with a severe handicap, and they're still doing that Popovich thing. So yeah, I think that's a tough matchup. It could be a tough matchup.
Yes. Now, all right. So the Raptors, the Nets. You said that was one of the ones you were looking forward to.
Yeah, that's interesting because the Raptors, they have some shakeups there. They got rid of Valanciunas and they have Marc Gasol. They haven't had a whole lot of time to incorporate Marc Gasol, and they've been playing terribly for a while. Like, they have not been playing good basketball for a while. And with Kawhi leaving and Kyle Lowry apparently hating his owner, not disguising it at any moment throughout the season, when the playoffs hit, that stuff matters. And even though I like Toronto on paper, they have a great team on paper. Kawhi Leonard is phenomenal. I think Kyle Lowry has actually been doing some good things, even though his shooting's been up and down. Their defense is great. Siakam's much better player than he was last year. The Nets have been playing really well, and they have that knockout punch with the shooting, and because they're such great 3-point shooters, they have a lot of team chemistry. They really play together. Like, if you watch the Nets,
they play
for each other.
Very unselfish.
Correct. And they do have and they just got Karis LeVert back.
Yep.
So we still have to see what that looks like in the playoffs. They don't have a ton of experience, but Toronto is a reasonably new group, particularly with the additions of Gasol. So I think that series could be pretty exciting. And I think Toronto's going to win it probably in 6, but a hot shooting night could turn that into a 7-game series or an upset.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I like about Brooklyn is that Brooklyn has a primary creator on both units, the first and the second unit. So whether you got D'Angelo Russell out there, you got Spencer Dinwiddie, they have a primary creator. And that's one of those things that kind of proofs you against going through long scoring droughts when you have a primary creator on both units.
Mhm.
So I definitely like that about them. And the good thing is that neither one of those primary creators are play small forwards. So it's probably not going to be Kawhi's primary
Mhm.
primary defensive assignment. So I like the Raptors in 6. All right, so the Nuggets Thunder, I think we talked a little bit about that, but I didn't say what I thought would happen. I have the Thunder to upset the Nuggets in 7.
Mhm. I would say if it goes to Game 7, I think Game 7 in Denver usually is a good look for Denver.
Mhm.
So OKC has to win that in 6 or less
Okay.
if they're going to win it. They're in flux right now. I got to see Paul George's health to give you an honest prediction. But right now, it looks like the Nuggets in 5 or 7.
Okay, we will see. All right, so then we got the 76ers against the Pistons. Now, this is another one I'm kind of interested in too. I like the 76ers in 6.
I like 76ers in 5. Even though the Pistons, Wayne Ellington has been a surprisingly great addition for them.
Mhm.
And they have been playing better. They've gotten some pretty big wins in the last few weeks, moving up the standings. And that's great for them. Happy for them. They are still 4-6 in their last 10.
Yep.
And even though Blake's jump shot has improved tremendously, that is not the weapon I want to go to war with against Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris and JJ Redick and even the rest, some of those bench guys. Both, it's just not. It's not a good look. So I think the Sixers are too deep. I think they are starting to figure themselves out a little bit. Yeah, I got the Sixers in 5 in that one.
Yeah, if that's even what it is, because
yeah, I mean it's moving around a lot.
Because Brooklyn could catch them,
Detroit could miss the playoffs.
And Miami, right? Well,
literally, Detroit might not even be the playoffs.
Yeah, Detroit's they have they only have a game and a half lead on the Magic,
and the Magic are 7-3, and Detroit is 4-6. So
right, so
yeah.
You never know, but yeah, right now that would be the matchup. Then you got the Blazers against the Clippers.
We can't talk about that without talking about Nurkic's injury.
That's what I was gonna say, and I haven't seen it, and I don't plan on seeing it.
I saw it. Don't watch it. It's horrible.
I'm not gonna.
Let me tell you how I saw it real quick. So I'm watching that game. I look away for a second, and when I look back, if you guys saw my Twitter feed, any of y'all following me, I wrote, "Oh, Nurkic is done." I didn't see him get injured. I saw him on the floor, and his foot was just hanging off his leg, flopping around in his shoe, and it was horrible. And honestly, I intended to never see it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, one of them dumb ESPN shows showed it while the woman was saying they wouldn't show it. They showed it while she was literally saying that.
Yeah.
Because her and her video people wasn't coordinated. So I saw it. It's horrible. It's gruesome. It's basically Gordon Hayward all over again. Really tough for them emotionally because he was playing great. He was one of my picks for, big surprises of the year because I thought he was just playing that well. I thought he was putting them in position to be more competitive than they looked. And then adding Enes Kanter. Who else did they add? They added somebody else to that team.
I thought those were the only. Oh, I thought they didn't add Nurkic at the like mid-season. They added
better. You had a bunch of guys on that team who weren't really a factor last year, playing better. So you got Curry who's shooting really well.
Yes.
Rodney Hood they added this year, and he added a stable because remember they were really struggling at the backup shooting guard.
I talked to Rodney Hood last year with the Cavs, and y'all on Sim Hangout just really dogged me. Y'all act like
slow down.
Y'all did it.
He a good backup, solid. Rodney Hood is the most replaceable NBA player in history.
No.
He is a creative character, like 75 overall. That's Rodney Hood. But they needed that. They needed that.
The disrespect that people get in this building.
I'm just saying. Rodney Hood don't even need a name. He should have a jersey number with no name on it. He liked them college players when in the
I don't
old
know
college
why. I don't know
schedules.
why you were so drastic with
I'm
your
not
take.
I'm just it's an accurate assessment of Rodney Hood's skills. And listen, I'm saying that's valuable. That's valuable to what they needed. They needed that. But let's not make it more than what it is, man. He ain't never gonna make an all-star game. Stop.
No. I just said
Ain't
if
gonna
he,
scare nobody either.
you know,
He ain't a third wheel. He ain't a fourth wheel. He's a stabilizing part of the rotation, and they needed that. They have it. Seth Curry contributing positively. Enes Kanter, he gives you a double-double. Now he's going to be starting before it was coming off the bench, So, a lot of positivity for them there. I think they would have been scary if Nurkic hadn't gone down, but now that he's gone down, ultimately, I mean, you would think they should still beat the Clippers, but the Clippers are playing well, man.
Yeah, I think the Clippers are playing well. I think the Clippers win that series. I really do. I think the Clippers win that series because I think the Clippers defend too well consistently, and not.
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt you. I don't like to interrupt you because you're absolutely right in what you're saying right here. Somebody in the chat said Rodney Hood would school me though.
Yeah.
Am I an NBA player?
Nope.
Is he a comic book artist?
And he called you Brooks.
Listen, I think illiteracy is a terrible thing. And I'm not trying to get on people on their journey.
Yes.
So I encourage him to continue on his path. How about this? I'll challenge Rodney Hood to a 3-point shooting contest, and me and him could draw Spider-Man after that. See who get closer. Let's do that. Let's do that.
And the Czar started this Sim Hangout with a buzz. He is on the floor with his shirt. He is on the floor with his shirt pulled up over his belly now, drunk as ever.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna have to carry him in the division.
Big Mama is clearly not at home because
where's she gonna come from, kids?
He's sitting there topless. He is sitting there topless with a jar of E&J on his stomach, and he is just with his tablet in his hand, and he just typing crazy stuff. He is out here. He is out here.
No other lights on except the tablet light.
Laughing loud.
Somebody in chat wrote the Clippers are going to do what the Pelicans did and get the ball out of Lillard's hands. I think they're better prepared for that this year with a little more depth overall. But I do think when you have defenders the level that the Clippers have, you got to always be concerned about that.
And here's the other thing that I think people might be missing about what Nurkic was doing. Nurkic was facilitating a lot out of the post, and then they were bringing him up top, and he was creating, and it was allowing Dame to move around without the ball a lot and to get the ball and attack from different points. And now you can't just plug any center into that lineup and have them do the same thing. It's almost similar to I'm about to hear some mess right now. But it's almost similar to what Joakim Noah was doing with the Bulls earlier a few years ago. The Bulls were running offense through Noah a lot.
Yeah.
And you can't just throw another big out there who is going to be able to do that. So it diversified the offense quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And with Dame's shooting ability, that benefits them very, very much, particularly with Dame and McCollum. They get a lot out of that. So now I'm with you. And the sad thing about that right there is Nurkic was only in the game because Brooklyn had fouled out both of their centers and were playing a small ball lineup.
And he was killing.
He was dominating, right? Like he was dominating them because they had Jared Dudley on him. God bless Jared Dudley's chubby little soul.
Now, I know we were talking about us against NBA players. I promise you right now, Jared Dudley can't guard me. I will beat Jared Dudley. I will beat Jared Dudley off the dribble. I will beat him. I know I can. Give me 60 days in a personal trainer. And I will beat him off the dribble. I will beat him off the dribble. Hard right. Clyde Drexler, head down. I'll get him. All right, so let's see who got next. I didn't give my prediction.
Yeah.
I got the Clippers upset. I got the Clippers upsetting. Yep, Clippers upset in 6. All right, so the last first round matchup, we're only going to do first round. Pacers against the Boston Celtics. That's interesting.
This is very interesting because Boston has been, first of all, the Pacers, I mean, they're not on a great streak right now. They've been playing some tough teams. The Pacers are a good team.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great defensive team. And we have lauded praises on Sabonis this year and talked about him being sixth man. He's an extraordinarily talented person to be bringing off your bench. They added Tyreke Evans this year. He's a great playmaker for them. Miles Turner has turned into a stellar defender.
Yeah, and he's a really rare. How many rim protecting stretch bigs are there?
Yes, and he's got a general amount of skill. I still think that he can be an all-star if he just keeps working and they keep training him up. You know? I think he's a guy. He looked like he was going to be great at some point. He looked like he was showing some flashes, and then he went down, and now he's found his stride as more of a role player. But I still think he has that talent to be lower level all-star.
I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like his stat line is insane. He's averaging just under 3 blocks a game, and he's shooting just under 38% from three.
On a team that's so great defensively, that defensive contribution that's not empty numbers.
No.
Indiana is stifling.
It's hard to get an empty 3 blocks. Like I mean, unless you Manute Bowl.
Well, JaVale McGee is a guy I would say could get you a bunch of blocks, but those blocks are the only positive things he did defensively. He didn't. No, and that's not to say that he never does, but he's not a great post player. He's not a super intelligent defender.
Well, I mean,
there's people who are just great jumpers. They have, they get a lot of help blocks, but their man has whoever offense on them. But Miles Turner is the other side of it. He's a guy who, even without his blocks, he'd be a stellar defender. The fact that he's also getting a bunch of shot blocks is a plus. So we're in agreement on that. Who do you got in this series?
I have the Celtics in 7, and I have Kyrie going nuts in Game 7 and saying we ain't losing.
This is an interesting situation because I can't tell what the Boston Celtics are.
And I think when this series is over, you won't be able to tell anymore. But what I think happens is Kyrie's individual brilliance as a scorer, and he's just having a great year. Like, we're gonna get into the FPVR, but if he was to make my Boston Celtics team, which he hasn't been there long enough, this is the season I would base his ratings off of.
Oh, this sounds like a hot mess. We're gonna get into this. This sounds crazy. Okay.
I'm just blown away by the disrespect. I'm blown away by the disrespect.
I think
the disrespect has detonated in my face.
I think Boston you know what I would say? I think Boston in 6. I think they might find themselves in this series against a great defensive, well-coached team. I think a lot of the mess that happens in the regular season could probably go away. And also, I would say Gordon Hayward watch. Gordon Hayward has gotten some of the least sympathetic coverage I've ever seen for a guy coming back from a.
They don't care, man. They don't. I mean, he getting treated like a black man, ain't he? I'm like, they don't care nothing about the little white man that done broke his foot off. They don't care, man. I mean, they like, dude, go on somewhere. It's a bunch of people that done broke their foot. Get out of here, Gordon.
This man, he a good dude. He makes the right plays. He trying hard. He getting into shape. He done worked hard to come back from a gruesome injury. Kept his head up.
Everything. I mean, he could be over there. He could be over there acting like Isaiah Thomas.
Right. He hasn't had. It's not they act like he hasn't had 30-point games and all this stuff. Like, he's just taking it all on the chin, and he's looked like. And the thing is, here's the reason I brought him up. When he plays well, Boston.
Oh, they are different. Team.
Crazy. Right? Like, people were talking about trading him for Anthony Davis. Honestly, if I felt as a Celtics management like Gordon Hayward would be Gordon Hayward, he would be one of the last people I want to trade.
Yeah, because his skill set and his temperament are a perfect match for that team.
Tremendous.
You know, because he doesn't have to be the look, I got it. He'll let Kyrie do that. He'll let Jason Tatum go off and do their thing, and he'll do whatever he's going to do. But then on a night where they're not there or not hitting or not on their game, I got it, 25. You know what I'm saying?
And he's one of the best shooters on the team.
Yeah.
He's one of the best cutters on the team.
And he's physically strong, so he's able to defend guys on the post.
Correct.
He's
he works in every lineup.
Yeah, not a horrible athlete or anything like that. So
good athlete. He's already a decent athlete, and we know he doesn't even fully have his legs back. It takes an entire year.
Right.
To get to your NBA basketball self after basically losing your leg for all that time and sitting down all that time. So if Gordon Hayward, he's been getting better. So I think he's a serious X factor.
Yeah. I got the Celtics winning that one though, but I do think Kyrie goes bananas in games.
Yeah, I think Celtics in 6, and I think they find themselves as a team and look a lot better. I still don't know if that makes them better than the Sixers and if the Raptors have their stuff together or the Bucks, because I think the best player on those teams are all better than Kyrie Irving. I would take Joel Embiid and Kawhi Leonard and Giannis Antetokounmpo over Kyrie, full hesitation, no stop. In all 3 cases, I would easily take those three players, almost no matter what the question you're asking. So when you don't have the best player and the other team has a better record, and then I don't favor you. Yeah. But I don't put that on Boston. That's just where the rest of the East got better. That's not your fault that the rest of the East got better, and Jason Tatum didn't have a sophomore year that capitalized off of his rookie year the way everybody thought it would. Right. I don't think it's disappointing for Boston to lose to those teams. I don't think they're underachieving. Obviously, they'd be underachieving if they lost to Indiana. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll beat Indiana in 6.
Yeah, I got Boston in 7. Okay. All right, so the last series is the Rockets against the Jazz. For me, I think that the Rockets are really kind of hitting their stride at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I think they look like one of, if not the most dangerous team in the league at this point. I know they're only the 4th seed, but a lot of that has to do with a lot of injuries that they had to fight throughout the early part of the season.
Let's talk about that real quick. It wasn't just injuries. I think they caught Super Bowl loss syndrome. And as a fan of multiple sports, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? So when you lose in the Super Bowl, a lot of teams have a disastrous year after they lose in the Super Bowl. Teams. Right. Most teams. Almost
Super Bowl loser.
Correct. And I think when they lost to Golden State, for them, that was the championship. And this used to happen in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks and the Bulls was the championship series, and then the Bulls was going to beat whoever's coming out of the West, right? That was their biggest challenge.
Yeah, that's how it went. That's pretty much how it went.
And that's how it went last year.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah, that's how
I was there when it happened.
You good?
Yeah, I was just saying.
Okay. Just make sure you're good.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I think the Houston Rockets versus the Warriors, especially in Houston's mind, is the Bulls versus the Knicks right now. And like the Knicks, they believe that they have a chance to beat the Warriors. And when they lost, I think they had a very, very severe hangover to start the year. Which is one of the reasons I don't think James Harden deserves MVP, because he was just fat and playing bad in the beginning of the year. Just is what it is. Mm-hmm. He was chubby and playing bad. That's part of the reason they were so bad. But like you said, the NBA season is 82 games. It's not 16 games. The NBA season was 16 games. They'd be Cleveland Browns. You know what I'm saying? But as the NBA game season is 82 games, they had time to get over that and acquire more talent. They got new players on that team that have fixed a lot of the issues that people thought they would have from losing Trevor Ariza. It's a big deal to have Kenneth Faried in that system playing the way he's playing.
Yeah,
it's a big deal to have Austin Rivers as a third playmaker.
I think he was definitely a big deal, and I think James Ennis has finally started to do a little bit of what they wanted him to do on the defensive side of the ball too.
And when you get those pieces, then you have guys like Gerald Green who can X factor in any game and come in and just hit 5 out of 5 threes in a quarter and win you a game you might have supposed to have lost. So I'm with you on Houston and how dangerous they are and how they're hitting their stride. I would definitely say they have a great chance to beat the Jazz, but Utah had also a very, very bad early part of the season, very disappointing first half of the season. Donovan Mitchell, I think if he was playing the way he's played in the second half, he would have made the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah.
And so that could be a tough out. I would have Houston in 6, but upset watch.
Well, I got a shocker for you. I got Houston in 4.
Wow.
I got Houston in 4.
That's disrespectful.
I don't think that we're talking about one of those series where they beat them by 25 and then they beat them by 19 and then they beat them by 7 and then in game 4 they only win by 3. No, I think all of these games are probably 10 points or less, but I think Houston pulls it out each game. I think Houston pulls it out each game. I think that there's an issue with Gobert being the Gobert he wants and needs to be because of how mobile and how well Capella works off screens, and keeping Gobert in that screen and roll situation, I think is going to be a problem that you have to watch with that team, with this matchup throughout the entire series. I think that the Rockets have multiple guys to throw at Donovan Mitchell, and they can essentially hide James Harden from him. And also, I think that one of the biggest things is having Chris Paul back, truly back is really the thing.
And because of all the time he missed, that's probably good for him in the long run.
I think it is. I think at his age and because of the injuries that he's had throughout his career, I think this is absolutely the best thing. And I do agree with Zard. It's the first thing he said today in chat that I agree with. Giannis is the MVP without a question.
Yeah. We on the show we include defense in our assessment, and Giannis has a really great case for defensive player of the year, and for a guy averaging 28 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 6 assists, that's insane.
Yes.
And if you watch the games, it's even more insane because the criticism for Giannis is that he doesn't shoot the 3. First of all, let's not act like he's Ben Simmons. He makes threes, and he makes threes in clutch moments. He's not a great 3-point shooter by any stretch, but I think it's much more important to give 4 other people wide open threes on a regular basis than it is for you to shoot threes. If you're a small player, you get to the basket, they only need to send 1 person to help. They send 4 people to help on Giannis when he goes to the basket.
Yes.
And you got 4 shooters around him, and that's why they have the #1 record.
And sometimes he dunks on all 4 of them.
Sometimes he don't even pass it. He just dunk on all 4 people. No, the boy's a monster. James Harden in any other year MVP, but this year Giannis is putting on one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Yes, I would concur.